Hi, I'm Frank Chua. Welcome back to my channel. This is about a week later and the colors are really changing, and we're gonna go the other way today, heading towards Mansfield, and you get to see more of the colors around here. So I'm gonna reverse the camera and you can enjoy the view as we go along for a ride. The hills ahead, that is upstate New York State. I'm still in Pennsylvania, but that is upstate New York. I'm right at the border. So where I am right now is right at the border between New York State and Pennsylvania State. there are a fair number of visitors, as you can see. Actually, around this time of the year, there are often visitors from outside of the state who comes around this region for leaf watching, just to catch the colors of the fall. Alright, I'll stop here. Alright, we're in the Welcome Center. This is the Welcome Center itself. It's pretty new, less about 20 years old. But this way you can get all the brochures with regards to the area and the surrounding region. Right, pretty well equipped. Right, but the really interesting part about this place is the panoramic view you have of Tioga Valley. Right, as we head out outside, look at Tioga Valley itself. Right. Alright, let me give you a little bit about the history of this place. Tioga County itself really was not inhabited by any white settlers until the 1780s. So this region itself was actually owned by the Native Americans, the Seneca Indians, I believe. Yeah, the Seneca Indians. Right, so even though Pennsylvania colony was founded in 1681, most European settlers were really settling around Philadelphia or the eastern part of Pennsylvania. Right? There's hardly any European settlers. There's no European settlers around here in the early 1700s, even though the English owned the colony of Pennsylvania. Now, this is where we'll talk about with regards to the French-Indian War and how it came about and how Pennsylvania plays quite a big role in the French-Indian War. Before we go to that area itself, right, let me explain the broader immigration issues in this country, or I would say migration issues, but really with regards to European settlers. The Spanish were the first people in the Americas, right, largely because of Columbus, right, and then there were the Portuguese, the French, and the Dutch, right. Now the English, despite the fact that North America is largely controlled by people of British descent, the English were actually very late in arriving in the New World, right? So what happened here was that the other European colonies, like the Dutch, the Spanish, especially further south, and especially the French, which was sort of the superpower at that time, fighting against the other superpower, which is England, had already landed in the New World much earlier. So because the English arrived so much later, they wanted to make sure that the English did not encroach onto their property. So because the French were here earlier, they have moved further inland. And to prevent the English from pushing further deeper, they began to build a series of forts in what is now Pittsburgh area, western Pennsylvania, to prevent the British or the English from moving further westwards. Now, this building of forts itself, like Fort Duquesne, Fort Necessity, will be the triggering point of the French-Indian War. Now this is where you hear the story of a very young George Washington, who I believe was captured, who lost his very first battle and was captured by the French and later returned back to the British at Fort Necessity, right, in 1754. Okay, so basically the most famous American general of the Revolution itself and the first president of the United States started off his military career on a very inauspicious note. Okay, now so let me say this, right, even though the French-Indian War, or what is often known as the 7-Year War, which started between 1756 to 1763, right, began earlier. There were already skirmishes between the French and British around the western part of Pennsylvania.
in 1754 and 55. That's where you talk about George Washington losing his very first battle. And in a larger context, the French-Indian War is just the North American version of a global war being fought between the French and the British. That was also fought in Europe and also in Asia, especially in India, right? Especially in India itself. Okay, now, so even though the war itself officially started in 1756, there were already clashes between the French and the British as early as 1754, and war was officially announced in 1756. Okay, now what we do know that is the British would win the battle, right, and still control much of North America. The French would be driven off, and the British will also control India. The French and other Europeans would be driven off. And that's where you see how the future United States of America became an English-speaking nation, largely because of the British defeating the French. Right now, for most of non-Americans who are not familiar with history of United States or even the French-Indian War itself, right? You probably would have seen the movie Last of the Mohicans. Now, the Last of the Mohicans is a good starting point because the movie itself, which was based on James Fenimore Cooper's novel of the same title, historical fiction, whereby the main characters were obviously fictitious, but it was set on a backdrop of a real historical event. Right? It was set on the French-Indian War. So what you would see here is that Pennsylvania plays a very important role because that's where the war basically started, around Pittsburgh area, western Pennsylvania, right? And the famous scene that you see in the movie, the attack on Fort William Henry, right, or the massacre of the surrendering British troops at Fort William Henry by the Huron Indians, right? That's actually at Fort William Henry, which is really not in Pennsylvania, but about 5 hours north of here in upstate New York, right? In upstate New York, so 5 hours up here in upstate New York, right? But anyway, that gives you an idea where you can actually anchor the French-Indian War within popular culture. Most of you, if you do not know anything about American history, at least you have seen Last of the Mohicans, right? So Last of the Mohicans, the movie itself, was set on the backdrop of the French-Indian War, or the 7-Year War. The global version is called the 7-Year War. Now, so in a nutshell, that's just a brief history of Pennsylvania backdrop in the French-Indian War. Okay, so I'm gonna stop here and we'll go on for a further ride towards Mansfield, where you have a very good idea of how the place or the region here looks like. Right, the region here looks like. It's actually virtually cloudless right now, and you'll get a good clear view of the valleys around here. Okay. Alright, we're heading towards Mansfield right now, and we'll probably have a good panoramic view of the valleys around here. We're really up in the highlands. Really up in the highlands.
Alright, we're leaving Mansfield now and we are heading back to Tioga. Right, we're heading back to Tioga. Now the sky is really blue and it's cloudless, so the view is even much clearer. So we're gonna join Super Corridor 99 going north. We're gonna be heading towards Tioga and then perhaps Lawrenceville. And if you drive even further, you end up in the state of New York and the city of Corning. But we are not gonna go up there all the way.
can see in the sign Corning, 18 miles up north, they'll be already in the state of New York. Corning, the whole town or city itself is named after Corning ware. They make Pyrex, they make glass, Corning glassware. It's really blue right now, just about early afternoon, just past 2. And we're gonna exit off here. We're gonna exit off here. We're really at the border of Pennsylvania and New York State. Right across on the hill, that is New York State. We are still on the Pennsylvania side here. Alright, I'm gonna stop the video here. This end our ride, and I hope you enjoy the short clip of the surrounding areas. And I'm gonna enjoy the rest of the day. It's a beautiful day, so I'll talk to you next time. Bye.